I realized that health had transformed my whole life, and a lot of people aren't making their health their #1 priority, but it's the only thing you can control. The worst part of success is a little bit, because when you have a little bit of success, you start getting lazy and you start thinking that things just happen easily. I don't grind because I need success or don't have it or do have it. I do it out of pure destiny and out of pure passion, because I'm living literally out of my purpose. The hardest thing you've overcome really shapes who you really are.
All right, guys, so we're right here with Nicholas outside of UCI. Had to take him out of the event for a little bit, sorry about that, but thank you so much for this interview. So we'll start off real quick. Nicholas, kind of give us an update of your background on where you started and like where you're at now, like through the trenches as well.
Yeah,
of your
cool.
journey.
So it's been a long journey. It was my 5th wedding anniversary this last weekend, and in that process, my wife and I went through even just the last 5 years. 1st year marriage, 2nd year marriage, 3rd year, 4th year, and even that has been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But ultimately, my parents split up when I was 5. My dad and I had a huge falling out when I was about 12 years old, 13 years old, which led me to gaining 60 pounds, giving up on all my schooling, and I wanted to be a professional athlete, and I gave up on all that. So with all that, I had no girlfriend, 1.8 GPA, which means I had no future in a work, and I had no gifting or anything left inside of me, with the lowest self-esteem out of I've coached 631 men one-on-one over the last 4.5 years, which is a lot, and I have the lowest self-esteem out of any of them that I've met so far. And it wasn't until I started investing in my health again that all of a sudden I started getting the confidence. The confidence got me outside, got me to attract my wife now that I've been obviously married to for 5 years. It got me back into business because my dad was a business owner, my uncle was a business owner, and I at 12 years old actually had a business that was like mowing lawns, weed whacking, like just simple stuff door to door. And I realized at that point that health had transformed my whole life. And a lot of people aren't making their health their #1 priority, but it's the only thing you can control. Me and you right here, you could say, Nick, I don't like this interview, I'm out.
Yeah.
And then I'm screwed. Like, I can't handle that. I can't do anything about that. Or you might say, hey, I'm coming to your event, and then not show up.
Yeah.
I can't handle that. But for me, I can say, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to drink this water, and I can actually follow through on it without anyone else.
Got it.
And so with that, I realized that men could be totally empowered by that. So it started out with me just having a passion and realizing, what am I good at? What does the marketplace need? And like just those two things together, I realized I could start a business in it. So 2018, when my wife and I got married, we did that. It went really well. We were doing like $40,000 a month in sales. And we thought we were totally good for life, dude. Even my mentors at the time were like, Nicholas, no, like this is like what you're doing right now. I just don't feel like it's right. Like I don't feel like you're there yet. And I thought it was totally fine. Literally went down to making $700 a month, almost in 1 month. I moved out to San Diego, and my whole life fell apart basically. And that's when I had taken my family's company. My dad got in a super bad accident, which led me to running a whole nother brick and mortar company for 2.5 years, learning the ropes. So my dad literally shattered his scapula, shattered his collarbone, broke his shoulder, tore his rotator cuff, shattered his ribs, like punctured his lung, had a hernia this big, like the craziest things happened. So I've been through tons of opposition, from getting married, having a successful income that provided for our 1st year marriage, to losing it all. To then having a dad that got severely hurt and was out for 12 months, to running a brick and mortar company and losing my whole passion of health, to then refocusing and realizing that, man, when I first started my business, I totally lost my health in the first 6 months. So how many entrepreneurs that didn't have a health-minded transformation, how many of them did the same exact thing? So I was like, that's going to be my service. I'm going to help these guys that are going out there, that are going to make a huge impact in the world, and instead of reaching 30,000, I'm going to help them reach 100,000 through making their health a priority and impacting more people.
Dude, that's great, man. That's great. So I was going to ask one more question, but let me just go back a little bit. So whenever you were making $40,000 a month.
I wasn't making it, but the company was making it.
Okay, well, yeah, sorry. Well, when the company was making the $40,000 a month, what was it that, shifted that it just ended up dropping? Was it just like a quick, you're gonna end up, it's going good in the beginning? Like everybody says, in the beginning of a business, it always starts off good and it just kind of plateaus, or it goes downhill?
Yeah, I think the worst part of success is a little bit. Because when you have a little bit of success, you start getting lazy and you start thinking that things just happen easily. So I stopped doing the things that created success, and I didn't really have the mentors and the people around me really in place that were setting an example of exactly what do I do at that point in the business. Do I keep just letting the residuals come in, or do I go out there and keep working really, really hard? So those are some of the greatest moments for me, is the moments that I got overweight, the moments that I had opposition, the moments that I lost all the income, lost the company, are the best moments that I can think of that taught me the most of exactly why I grind so hard today.
Awesome.
I don't grind because I need success or don't have it or do have it. I do it out of pure destiny and out of pure passion, because I'm living literally out of my purpose.
Got it.
So out of that, now I'm going out there creating. You can ask my wife. I don't even really look at our bank account. She'll be like, "Oh, we have X amount of dollars." I'll be like, "Really? That's awesome. Like, that's really cool." But it's not like my main focus. It's not my main driver, because as soon as you have more than enough, then you lose all your focus. Because most people want to be financially free.
Yeah.
That's your number one goal. You're going to hit it, and then realize my only purpose in life was to become financially free. And now that I am financially free, I need to sabotage myself back into not being financially free so that I can then have a purpose again.
Got it. Dude, that's great, man. So let's go with the next question, which would be, so something I told people before was, I love Conor McGregor's saying. He goes, yeah, dude. His saying was great, man, because I loved it, and it kind of related to me, where it said, it's easy to start visualizing and start believing in yourself when good things start happening. He's like, but the hard part is, when the bad stuff happens and you still visualize all the good things and, still think positive.
Yep.
So give me an update when you're going through those pitfalls, like what was it, or like, were you visualizing yourself? And if you were, like, what was it that made you, think positive and start visualizing, man?
Yeah, like I was hanging out with a guy named Chris Record. He owns a company called Techademics. They did like 65 million last year or something. And he was talking about that when he hires people, he asks them, what's the hardest thing you've ever overcome in your life? And if they say, like, I ran a marathon or something like that, he's like, get out of my office. Because really it's in those moments that, like, that's when you see what's really someone's all about. Yeah. So the hardest thing you've overcome really shapes who you really are. And so for me, it was always that. I was literally, my dad was in like bedridden for 12 months basically. I had to take over his company. I had to go out and actually be a technician in a carpet cleaning and restoration company. So I was literally sucking rugs, like I was sucking dirt out of rugs. I mean the worst, just think about the worst thing you could ever do with carpet cleaning, the worst case scenarios that could ever happen, like people pooping all over the carpet. I would be the guy that has to go do that. So right after that, I was still trying to build a business outside of that one, and I would have to literally show up in downtown after sitting there like cleaning up someone's freaking poop off the carpet and go hang out with a bunch of people that actually ran businesses and acted like I was like the man. I had to show up, and the way that I did that is by realizing where I was going to go, and realizing that now, and pulling that into the current situation that I'm in. If you just sit here and go, this is who I am, and act like that, you're never going to go anywhere. You're going to keep yourself exactly where you're at. So I surrounded myself with people that are better than me, and then I project in the future with everything that I have going for me. Where am I going to be in 5 years, 3 years, 10 years? Mostly for me, I think further out, because I'm like, okay, 20 years from now, what am I going to be like? Like, man, I'm going to make that happen. So the way I'm going to do that is by becoming that person today, that confidence, that feeling that I've already made it. And I don't allow my circumstances to run my life. I have a truth that I live by, which is where I want to be. My circumstances, if they're down here, my income, my health, like the opportunities, whatever it is, I literally live up here until my circumstances rise up to the truth. Because if you sit here in your circumstance, you're like, well, I can't come to this event because I don't have enough money, or I can't invest in a relationship. When I invested with Cole, it was $5,000, 20 minutes. I'll just have to tell a story then. He had a group that was high-level people, and my wife was there at the meeting. I had to stay home because my dad had gotten in that bad accident. Yeah. And my wife calls me and goes, hey, honey, I know that you're literally only making $1,800 a month right now. We have $3,000 in expenses, but there's this thing that they just pitched us that's $5,000, and they gave me 20 minutes to make a decision. What should I do? Most people want exactly what we have today, right? Total financial freedom, can do whatever I want, can buy anything I want, really. And everyone wants that, but they don't realize that you have to make those decisions. Where I went $5,000 in debt. I didn't make it back in a day. I didn't make it back in 6 months. I was still $5,000 in debt. But literally from that investment, I've made the majority of my relationships. I made hundreds of thousands of dollars just from the people I met in that room.
Shoot, man.
So what, like, literally, you can only make those types of investments if you know where you're going to go in the future and you're not stuck in your current situation.
So what was it that triggered you that said, you know what, because you were making $1,800 a month.
Yeah, $1,800, like 4 figures.
And the thing is, that was a $5,000 investment. But what was it that made you say? Because, you know, like any other person, they would be like, shoot, okay, well, let me just do my research real quick before I even pull the trigger.
Yeah,
what was it that
you had 20 minutes? You couldn't
Yeah.
do the research.
Mhm.
The most successful people in the world make decisions quickly after knowing all the facts, and then change them slowly if ever. And I wanted to change it. I actually wanted to get my money back. Imagine, we wouldn't be here today.
True.
Cole is one of my best clients. I would have never got him as a client. I got him 5 months after I bought that thing.
That is awesome.
So really, at the end of the day, the fastest decision makers win. Ultimately, money's fast, things happen quickly. After knowing the facts though, I projected in my head, if I didn't make that investment, I would have been happy, because I would have not been $5,000 in debt. That's not a happy place to be. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I wouldn't ever get where I want to be. And I thought, if I don't make the investment, that's not going to get me where I want to be. I'm not going to be any better off. But if I make this investment, there's a better chance. And I was okay with losing $5,000. So you have to be okay with the worst case scenario, which is losing $5,000 and meeting a bunch of great people. Best case scenario is like, I would say I got one of the best case scenarios, right? Like literally, I got complete. I mean, people could live off a couple $100,000. Like, it's not like that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's doctor money.
That's crazy, man. So let me tell you this: there's a lot of people that don't, like debt, and they don't like hearing debt at all. I kind of already know your answer, but I just want people to hear it. Do you feel like there is good debt and bad debt in the world?
Yeah, like when it comes to debt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
like, sorry about that. Let me. Would you get yourself in good debt?
Yeah, I mean, I get myself in good debt all the time. Like, I also sponsored Drive last year, and you got to think, you got 2 employees, you got the booth cost, you got to buy the booth. Like, those are all things that you are making an investment in because you know there's going to be a return. Whereas, like, going out and like I never bought, clothes like this, even though I don't look that cool today. All the stuff's like, good stuff. I would never buy stuff like this unless it was out of an excess. So you allocate a certain amount of. We want to live off 50% of our income. So if I'm living off 50% of my income, that means 50% is going somewhere else. And if that 50% I'm living off of it is more than my expenses, now I have all this other money that I can play with. That's cool. I don't have to make real investments with that. But the other money I absolutely do. So yeah, there's good debt and there's bad debt. Bad debt is what people are doing every single day, that they're going out and, like, I just made a post. How many people are not grinding on the weekends that are complaining on the weekdays? I'm like so pissed about it. I'm like, if you're gonna go buy lunch, don't go buy lunch. Like, go freaking starve yourself because you don't deserve lunch until you can go and invest in your company. Go in debt on your company before you go in debt on lunch, and then being starved for lunch will get you motivated to go out and make some freaking money. Because literally, you have to have times that you can't just keep giving yourself rewards for doing nothing.
True. So
some of my clients, they'll be traveling and they'll be like, hey man, I ate out at fast food, I just didn't prepare. And I go, cool, next time don't allow yourself to eat. And they're like, that's not healthy. Like, what are you talking about? That's like stupid. I'll be tired, I won't be able to show up. I go, yeah, but you only do it once, and you'll starve yourself and it'll suck and you won't be able to perform. And then next time you'll always remember that, and then you'll always prepare. So same thing, dude. I think that I'll always get, I get myself in good debt all the time, but it's things that are going to make me an investment. Cole's a mentor of mine. Cole gets into millions of dollars of good debt. Yeah. But then as long as if it's making you more than that, that's like a risk you have to be willing to take. And you have to have mentors. You have to have people you're surrounded with. Too many people make decisions on their own.
True.
And I feel like that's one of the dumbest things you can do. If I had a hard decision right now, I have my key mentors that I would call right away, and I would bounce it off them. Even if I already know the decision, I still bounce it off of them because I'm not dumb enough to think that I'm smarter than everyone else.
That's awesome, man. And that is true. So I guess, last question, man, just because I'm trying to make these short videos, would be, knowing everything you know today, what would you tell yourself, when you first started off? Like, what advice would you tell yourself when you first wanted to do everything that you want to do?
Yeah, I would say one would probably be to, like, serve someone else's vision first. Everyone wants everyone to serve their vision, but they're not serving someone else's first. So you always have to sow before you can reap a harvest. Like, you can't ever, like, expect strawberries to grow without planting strawberry seeds, sowing into the ground and expecting something out of it after. Yeah. That's one, but that's like a very minute part, because I just always have had a thing where I want to build something. The second thing, literally the focus should be doing whatever you can, spending all the money that you can to be around people. People always cost you two things, time and money. True. Always cost you time and money, but it'll always be worth it. Not enough people are putting an emphasis on putting themselves in situations where they can be around 5 good people and pick up on mentors. dogs, when they want a treat, they sit at your feet the entire time, right? They sit there and you're like, oh my gosh, like, here's a treat. If they were sitting in the other room, you wouldn't think about it.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite car?
Ah, shoot, dude.
He's gonna say Lambo.
God damn it. Yeah, he got me.
Lambo, okay.
Let's go with that.
So Lambo, like, that's cool. And the more you think about Lambos, the more you see them, which means that there's a $300,000 opportunity, like $300,000 relationship that you now can see that other people wouldn't see. But if you live in the middle of Pennsylvania, you're not going to see that many Lambos, which means that you also have to put yourself in situations to meet really good people. Because no matter how much you're aware of Lambos, if you're in the middle of Pennsylvania, you're not going to see them that often. You go to LA and you can just sit there on the corner and count them all day. So you have to put yourself in situations, surround yourself with 5 people, get key mentors in your life that can accelerate that path forward. And just, I think people try to go too fast. They think so short term that if me and you, if this relationship doesn't give you something right now, you're out. And people literally lose out. They stop 3 feet from gold in relationships. And always, you can never pull something out of a bank account that you didn't first put in. So when you have people like you guys, I'm like, hey, who can I connect you to? Because then I've put a deposit in your bank account that I can then withdraw equity at any point that I want after giving value. But you can never withdraw from people until you actually give something first. And too many people are just trying to see, like, what can you do for me? Like, is he going to do anything for me without putting an investment in first?
Sure.
I think that's huge. I've always invested, I told you, I've invested 6 figures into relationships. And it's like, if you're not that good at marketing and you're not that, like, you don't know the ROI of this or that, like, people always have a positive ROI. So I would put more emphasis on that.
Yeah. All right, guys, that was a pretty short video. Hopefully you learned something. Thank you so much, Nicholas, again.
Yeah, dude, appreciate it.
Hey, man, thank you so much for your time. And we got to go back to TEDx, guys, so we'll let y'all go. Hey guys, it's Jose Solzano again. Thank you so much for watching the full interview. I hope this video helped you out in any way and gave you some knowledge to do something else in life, or hopefully take you to the next level. And if it did, please like and subscribe so we can keep you posted with all the other videos that we have with successful entrepreneurs. And also, please share this so we could impact other people's lives by giving them some free knowledge to also take them to the next level. So thank you so much, guys, and we'll talk soon.